Really excited to be doing another one of these top earning calls. I've got a couple of affiliate owners here, and we're going to be discussing the topic of saving money. Many of us revenue needs to go up, and that's something we talk about on some of the calls. But a lot of us, we could actually do much better if we just were able to control a little bit of our spending month to month. And some things are necessary evils. You got to have it, right? Payroll is going to happen, rent is going to happen. So I'm really curious about learning from some experienced affiliate owners of maybe it's either mistakes they've made in the past or things they've learned or they know from previous business experience that we can all benefit from. So first and foremost, we're just going to kind of go around and introduce ourselves. There's not a giant group here, but just going to say your name, your affiliate name, where you're located, and then how long your affiliate has been open. So I'll just start. My name's Katie Hogan. I own Megawatt CrossFit in Pleasanton, California, and have been open since 2017. Zia, do you want to go next?
My name is Zia. I am in San Diego. I own CrossFit CounterCulture, and we have been open for 14 years.
My name is Paul. I own CrossFit Eastvale, and we are in the Inland Empire, Southern California. Been open for 16 and a half years, almost 17.
Woo, awesome. So some serious years between you guys. Basically, this conversation came about. I've been hearing a lot of affiliate owners feel like they're spending more than they're making, and that's scary. And then Zia and I were talking and had a great conversation about lots of things that she does. Paul and I have talked a bunch recently as well, and he's got a lot of experience in different areas. So I'm just going to kind of start to dig in, and we'll see where it takes us. Essentially, I'll start with like right off the bat. Does anyone have any like money traps that they know right off the bat people need to avoid? Like they either if you're always doing this kind of a thing, you need to cut that out. It's not going to. Or if it's more so lessons you maybe have learned in that department, and either one of you feel like you can speak to that.
I feel like it's easy to go ahead.
Zia,
Were you gonna
go ahead? Yeah.
I feel like it's easy to get into buying too many things that you do not need for your affiliate. If you have a good month, you want to kind of give back and buying tons of stuff sitting around that you have one or two things of that you can't use for GPP, so you shouldn't have it anyway. I think it's really easy to add, if after making a little bit of money, turning around and spending that money a little bit too fast. I see a lot of affiliates are just like, I just had the best month of my career, I'm going to go buy this.
I feel like that sometimes can be motivated by that feeling of like, not guilt, but like I made a lot of money off of memberships. So, and I want to reinvest in my gym. And the best way I know how so that people see it is a piece of equipment. And then they can know that I reinvest in the gym and I'm not just taking it home. Right. And the coaches know. And so I think that's an important thing to remember, that maybe hold on to that. Don't just immediately spend it on equipment, something shiny and new. Paul, do you have anything to add?
I think that's a really good point. I think that there's several answers, right? I think that it depends on the affiliate and the years of experience and level that they're at. I think in the beginning, you want to not spend. Yeah, if we're talking about day one opening your affiliate, you should get with an affiliate owner immediately and say, hey, what should I not buy? What do I absolutely need? I think a reverse hyper, for example, was a great tool, but does every single gym need one? Not in the first probably 2 years. So that's a good example to bring that up of, don't buy everything that you think you might need. That'll definitely save you some money. I think that even going specifically with Rogue, there's a lot of local places that you can get some pretty decent gear from, especially since your members are probably going to beat it up. And I think that no matter what you do, at any age of your affiliate, you should definitely enforce lots and lots of rules for taking care of the equipment. So if the topic of the day is saving money, we are the most frustrating. I'd like to think we're the most frustrating affiliate around, because you're not allowed to drop anything except a fully loaded barbell. So you drop dumbbells, wall balls, any of those things, sorry, no. You're going to put it down. For the last 16 years, because we don't let anybody drop them. And that's just one piece of equipment, for example. So we're pretty strict on that. You have to have 25s or more if you want to drop it. So we don't destroy 15s, we don't destroy 10s. You want to save some money, take care of what, don't overspend like Zia said, but take care of what you have.
I love that so much. And the wall ball thing is kind of funny because when I started at Valley CrossFit, the owner said the rep did not, and this was like back in 2008. And I think he literally just made this up himself. I don't think it was, there was, competitions weren't that big. The games had only had 1 year. I started right before the second year of the CrossFit Games existence, right? And he said a wall ball only counts if you squat below parallel, you hit the target, and you catch it. And if you don't catch it, it didn't count. And he felt like vindicated too. I don't know who it was. Was it Wellborn where the barbell dropped and he caught it and cleaned it? Like, was that in 08 or 07? It's on one of the movies. And like Castro came over. He's like, no. Yeah. Right. And so like he looked at it that same way. If you drop a wall ball and it bounces and you catch it. So from there on out, like a wall ball never dropped. And so it's kind of funny that you said that. And that will extend the life of your equipment, even if it is something like a simple medicine ball. So I like that. Except the slam ball.
Okay.
Do you ball slam? Ball slams down, but
we don't slam balls.
I don't have slam balls either.
You don't have slam balls?
To keep them from breaking. It just
Well, and that's I'm curious about that too. So equipment, there's wear and tear on equipment. Do you guys do regular equipment maintenance in-house? Do you source that out? There's nothing that irks me more, and I don't know if this is an OCD thing, and full disclosure, I don't own a full-size gym. I own a gym in my garage, but nothing irks me more when there's like broken equipment just sitting around and it becomes like the holder of sweatshirts or whatever else and the collector of dust, and it has an unprofessional look and feel. Sometimes it's unavoidable, right? You're trying to figure out who can service something, but Zia, what's your take on equipment when it's needing to be serviced regularly? Maybe it didn't break yet, or what do you do with broken equipment?
So I'm very clean and I don't like things broken or out of place as well. So I definitely do not have broken equipment laying around. We're right by the ocean. We're in San Diego. So the marine layers, it's a thing here. It destroys our equipment. So every 6 months, I have a local company that comes in and services the rowers, the bikes, and the barbells. And they come in, they clean the chains, they do all the servicing to prevent them from breaking and breaking down. And they do the barbells for me as well, just because I don't like doing that. And then as soon as something breaks, I get rid of it and replace it, or if it can be fixed, I get it fixed. But I feel like they're paying me top dollar. I'm not a cheap gym. And we're in a kind of nice area, a very nice area. And so we can't just have broken things laying around. So I do invest a little bit every once in a while in preventative maintenance of the gym. And then I have a company that comes and does it so that I can hold accountable and knows the machines well. And it ends up ultimately, I think, saving me money in the long run.
Absolutely.
But yeah, broken equipment laying around, I can't handle that. It drives me nuts.
I agree. I think that broken equipment and that whole boneyard that most gyms have, I think that is the opposite of what we said in the last point, which is like, if you want to buy a new shiny toy to show people you're reinvesting in your members or your gym, then leave a broken piece of gear out to show everybody how little investment you have and care into your gym.
That's great. Like you're basically putting up a billboard saying, this is how much I care right now. Obviously that's not anyone's intention if they're sitting next to a broken assault bike right now and feeling like we're calling them out.
No, and they break all the time. So it's just a matter of like, is it going to sit there broken for 3 months, or are you going to, like, I have a spare parts box for the rowers. I don't know about you, Paul, but when I got all my rowers back after COVID, I felt like every other day, some component of the rower from them being home was breaking. So I ordered, 6 feet. I ordered 6 chains. I just had extra equipment laying around. It's how long does it stay broken? Yes. Especially the bigger pieces of equipment, they're going to break, but are you going to fix them? Or are they going to sit there for 4 months? Like, obviously, like I'm not the best at fixing rowers, right? I'm good at fixing
pieces are going to wear out more frequently, right? And when it comes to say
Right.
like a rower, for example, and you know on the assault bike, what's going to break? Like in my experience, it's always seen the pedal attachment, like to this, like that's always, and or something at the handle attachment, right? Down low. So those know what's going to break. I did hear something about like the Echo bikes being a nightmare to fix, and you end up just getting a new bike if you call Rogue or something, because like,
So I have 10 Echo bikes and I've never had anything break on them, except for the seats constantly break. And they do, they just send you a whole new seat.
a whole new, yeah. With the rowers, that's, I know when my rower, something was malfunctioning with the actual the computer, they, because it was under warranty, they just sent me a new one. So keep an eye on that kind of a thing, how long your warranties, and they will literally replace your computer, and that's just like a bolt out.
Concept 2 will send you free replacement parts, even if it's out of warranty. If you call them, and I had a rower get hit by a car once because one of my members left it outside. That's a whole nother discussion. I can't even get into why it was outside, but I called them and I said, this rower was hit by a car. These are the parts I think I need. And they just sent them to me. Granted, you know, it's coming from Vermont, could not be further away from Southern California. But I mean, a lot of these companies, if you just call them, will help you out, send you parts. They'll, you know, one time I called and then I tried to order a screw from Concept 2 and it was 50-cent screw, but it was $10 in shipping. And I called and I was like, I don't know here. Like, can we order maybe a bag of screws for my $10? And she's like, no, this is ridiculous. Let me override it. She sent me a bag of screws and then she didn't charge me shipping. And I know it's only $10, but like,
it feels
just
good
call
to have these,
yeah.
and they have and then you stay with them for life. You're not shopping around other rowers. I know that that was the case with the ball that Paul won't use, the slam ball, the ones that were notorious for always breaking right at like the fill point. At least when I was down in Southern California at Valley CrossFit, wherever the owner was buying those from, they would replace them every time. We would just send them broken slam balls and they'd send us new ones. So not ideal, because that piece of equipment just keeps breaking because you throw it into the ground. But check those things out, because I definitely think that it's worth your investment before you again start scrolling through the Rogue website and looking for what new thing you should probably not yet be buying. When it comes to buying, or when it comes to equipment, have you guys always bought, or have you ever leased equipment? Do you have any opinions on that?
I've never leased equipment. We're just too rough on equipment. I don't know if that would necessarily, also, I don't think that would be financially beneficial to lease it. I used to, when I was a younger affiliate and didn't necessarily have the money, would buy used equipment. But now I'm at a point where I'm going to buy nice equipment. I'm going to pay full price for it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to make sure the warranty is up to date. And you don't know how the other owner took care of the equipment. So I have found recently that even buying discounted equipment or equipment that seems cheaper, brand new, you know, buy nice or buy twice. And that's kind of where I've ended up. But at the beginning, I for sure would buy used equipment and just, you know, have it for as long as I did. But I find that like the wall balls, that was one of my go-to. If a gym locally went out of business, I'd buy their wall balls. And then I'd be like, well, this wall ball lasted 6 months. And then it's like, is it really worth it? But I always buy equipment, and I generally try to buy it from a good, like a reputable company that has a good warranty. That's the big thing.
So definitely shop your warranties. That's good to know. Paul, anything for buying versus leasing versus new versus old with equipment?
Yeah, I would never lease personally. I think that it's a lot of liability on me. That's the first thing I would think of is, holy crap, everybody has to take care of this thing or I got to pay for it. And that's not a risk I'm willing to take. So I've never leased anything. I've always purchased. And similar to what Zia said, I think it also matters, like, where are you in your affiliate? I think a lot of these answers depend on where are you. I think that your first 3 to 5 years, the answers are different. It's get whatever you can get, you know, almost no matter what. And Katie, I know you know this, like from the beginning, we were training with concrete blocks and tires and railroad ties. So it doesn't matter. You can turn anything into a great fitness program. But yes, once you have the money, I think my very first Frogman that we hosted in 2011 bought us the majority of our squat rack. So, yeah, like, where are you in your affiliate? Your first set of squat racks might be those $100 squat racks you get from Apollo. Your next set might be the $400, $500 ones you get from Rogue. So it kind of depends on where you are, but definitely buy, definitely own. And the good thing about the equipment market that I really love is that whenever you want to upgrade or buy something else, you can almost always sell your used gear for very close to what you got it. As long as it's not absolutely destroyed like a slam ball that's got a hole. But, you know, if it's, we upgraded all of our rowers, we upgraded all of our assault bikes to the, I forget which is which. I want to say there's a classic and there's a pro, and the pro is a little bit more heavy duty, meant for gym use. And we upgraded, and I want to say it was like $350 difference from what we sold our bikes to what we bought new bikes for. So the question wasn't, do we want to spend $18,000 on new bikes? It was, do we want to spend like $2,800? And it was like, oh yeah, this is like a no-brainer. So, and then to touch on the other thing that Dia said, like, make those phone calls, because as you are a business owner, there are lots of business owners out there that are willing to please their customers, just as you are to your members, and you're willing to listen to hear what they have to say and their feedback on whatever it is in your gym. Then those other people that you're a consumer for or with or a customer with, they're going to be concerned for your satisfaction. So you make that phone call and you say, hey, I have 20 rowers. This seems a little ridiculous. They're going to probably appreciate your business, the fact that you purchased 20 rowers, and they're going to go, man, yeah, that's 20 potential customers who may one day have a home gym. They're going to buy a Concept 2 rower. Hell yeah, they're reliable to all of our future potential customers. So making that phone call to go, yeah, this wall ball broke, this slam ball broke, these barbells don't spin, so whatever. There's a high likelihood that person's going to take care of you. And I've had nothing but positive experience with the owner of an assault bike for that exact reason. So yeah, make those calls. Like, resell your gear, make those calls, see what they're going to do for you, because you're a customer too.
Nice. Yeah, I think also when it comes to the leasing, just be aware of if you're doing that because the cost is so high that you cannot outright purchase the amount of equipment you're trying to buy, reconsider the volume of each individual item. Like, if you really need 10 20-pound med balls, and my argument would be no, because even if you do the workout Karen, like, there are ways to slice it so that you don't have to have all of your members in class doing the exact same thing at the exact same moment. And there's a lot of ways to share equipment and a lot of ways to get by until you can purchase outright. So get creative with that kind of thing. I definitely don't think you should purchase your dream gym worth of equipment on interest. Get to there eventually. So you guys gave a lot of good points on that. I want to kind of continue down in this idea of like, call these other vendors that are serving you and ask for help. And I want to start with you, Zia. We talked a little bit about keeping costs down with something like as simple as your credit card fees. Those get out of hand fast. And you're saying that something regularly that you do is call and negotiate. And I love it.
Yeah, every 6 months I call and ask for a rate review for my merchant services accounts. The older you get, the less they go. And they are never just lowered for funsies. You have to ask. So every 6 months, I will request the rate review. If they deny me a rate review, I will usually shop it around, go to a different merchant services. Chase is usually a good one. They'll try to always beat the one that you have. Take the current one there, get Chase to beat it, go back to my other one and say, well, Chase is going to give me this. And then they'll lower it to that. And then, 5 years later, my credit card merchant services fees are 1.1.
Everybody hates
Yeah. But it's diligent over every 6 months. And I have a reminder that said, like, okay, you need to renegotiate those fees. And then it gets them down and down, and you can renegotiate the fact that I want ACH I want, check transactions to be a flat rate. So I've negotiated $25 a month for check transactions, and that's just what it costs. So it doesn't cost me anything. But just never being okay with those fees. Those fees can always change. They are a business just like anything else, and they're going to try to keep you. And if you have a company that says no every 6 months, then it's probably not a good company. You shouldn't be with them anyway. You're not married to that company. I know that some of these platforms they say they require you to use a specific merchant services. I use Wodify, and I do not use Wodify's merchant services program. I use my own, but that's a huge expense, especially when you get up there in memberships. I mean, you could be spending $5,000-$6,000 a month on credit card fees, and that's just money that's gone. So I always renegotiate those every 6 months.
I love that. Are there any other, if either of you have any ones to add, I don't know, Paul, if you want to chime in on that, and then Z, if you have any more sort of tricks like that.
I love that, because that actually reminded me that I need to do the same thing with my credit card fees. What we did 6 years ago, so about six and a half years ago, we moved into our new facility, and that's when we just blew up. Went from about 120 members to 350 like overnight. And even though, yes, the fees, especially in the beginning, you're probably like just wanting to get in business. And I'm not against that. Definitely get to the point where you're making money. And once you're making money, the focus becomes on how do I make more money. But I think that the conversation like this needs to happen where it's not always about making more money, but it's about saving money. So once you're operating, you're making money, great. But then yes, revisit some of those things and look at where you are. Don't wait until you have 200 members, because then in the beginning, 30 members paying an average of $150. You're not going to be spending $5,000 a month on credit card fees, but you make some good moves and you do accidentally blow up. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I'm spending all this money on credit card fees. So what we ended up doing was we looked into the ACH, which is a way for people to pay with their check and account number and routing number, which is $25 a month. And then you get something like 25 or 50 people for free. And then it's like a nickel for everybody after that. And we were spending, I think it was like $1,600, $1,700 in credit card fees. So what I did was I said, all right, it was kind of too late to make it not optional. So we said, everybody who changes from a credit card to a bank account and routing number, we're going to give you a shirt. So we spent $1,000 on a single color, boring shirt, and gave those out to everybody who switched. We ended up switching like 98% of 350 members to ACH, and then our transaction fees went from like $1,600-$1,700 down to like $340.
That's so
that $1,000 investment saves $1,000 a month.
That's when I negotiated that price. That's exactly what I did. Is I bribed the members to switch to ACH and lowered the fees. It's so smart.
What was your bribe?
It was the exact same thing. It was a bright, our colors are blue. It was a bright blue t-shirt, just my name on the front, unisex, everybody gets a free shirt. And they were coming in. I got my thing, like, where's my shirt?
That's awesome.
We still do it. If you join with an ACH, you get a free shirt. If not, you don't.
If you're going to do this, though, this is what you got to do. This has to be done in the right order. You have to call for a rate review so they see the volume that you're doing. They give you a rate reduction based on your current volume, and then you switch everybody over to ACH. If you do it the other way, they'll see your volume completely plummet, and then they won't adjust it. They might even try to charge you more because your volume is significantly different through credit card fees.
That's huge. Write that down, everybody. Don't do it backwards.
Yeah. Also, Amex will not rate review.
Okay.
No matter what.
Which
probably a lot of people.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say we don't accept it.
Yeah.
I know, because of where we live, like,
everyone has it.
Like, it's just not, it's not an option. It's just part of what we we have such low rates. We just can figure that in, but
that's good for everyone.
Amex.
Yeah, if your
Yeah.
demographic can go without it, then, and because a lot of people don't even have it. So, but where you're at, like you said, where you live, it's so common that they're gonna
The
just
amount of my members that walk in with black cards, I'm like, cool. Yeah.
guess that's what we're gonna be doing.
I don't live in the town I have a CrossFit in, just it's them, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
But other companies
Yeah.
you can do this with, by the way, I use regularly is I use Cintas and Alsco because we have showers with full towel service. And I use Cintas for like all my other things. I call and negotiate in between my contracts regularly. And the service fees, especially with Cintas, I'm quitting if I have to pay a service fee. Every once in a while, they'll try to like charge. I'm like, well, I want you coming once a week. I don't want to be filling toilet paper rolls. Like, I need you to, waive the fees, credit card fees, toilet paper, paper towels, my Cox bill for the internet. Every year when that 1 year promotion period is over, I immediately call to get that down.
Yeah,
all
when
of
you're
it, all
describing the credit card fees, that's what I've always done with our Xfinity home bill. Like, I'll just call them and be like, yeah, I'm not paying that, and then they're like, oh, yeah. I'll just threaten to be like, oh, we're just leaving. We'll do a Verizon home for internet. And they'll be like, wait. We'll throw in HBO. We'll throw it like, I've never once paid for HBO. It's just one free trial after another. And like, they will continually reduce the rate if you essentially threaten to go elsewhere because you just deal in your mail.
And my Verizon cell phone bill, I know that, that's not technically for the gym, but I put a lot of stuff personally for my gym. So my Verizon phone bill, I'm always like, hey, AT&T's got a thing going on right now. And they'll match it. It's a little bit here and there because, and I come from an accounting world. And so much of the time, new business owners focus on how much money they're making, but they do not focus on what is your profit margin. That is what you can control. So even if sometimes you're like, man, I lost a couple members this month and it's what are you spending? You could be making all the money in the world, but if you're spending more of it than you're making, you could still be making a great bottom line, but you got to make sure you're not spending as much money. And those things that there are things you cannot control, but almost everything that's a reoccurring, you can negotiate down.
That's awesome.
Even some of the buy stuff from.
So which stuff?
Like, sometimes like when we buy t-shirts for the gym, like you can negotiate that. You can negotiate anything. I mean, don't be a jerk about it. Don't be cheap, but there's things that you can do to negotiate.
Yeah. I always find that it doesn't hurt to ask and ask with your good reason of like, this is for this. We'd like to be a returning customer. I've got twins that play a lot of sports. So our first question is like, can you help us with the cost? Instead of paying, everyone else is paying this and I have to pay it twice. What can you give us? Like, we don't want to take money out of the coach's pocket. We know that you have to keep the lights on in the gym, but what can you do? And usually they can reduce one of the fees and then we stay with them. And over the years, we end up giving them a ton of money and they were able to help us out with the 2-for-1, but it's not literally one free, but they see what we're, that we're going to invest and stay. So.
Yeah. And your lease isn't off the table for that either. There's tons of TI stuff you can ask for. There's negotiation room there. Anything is on the table as far as negotiation.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember. I think sometimes when we can feel like it's all in the hands of the owner of the building and that we're just sort of subject to whatever and depending on who owns your building and what your landlord's relationship is with you, it can be tough, but I think that is worth.
You just gotta ask. It might be no, but the last time I renewed my lease, I asked for $20,000 in TI, knowing I was not going to get all of that, but maybe he would give me half. We just gotta ask.
Give you half?
Maybe a little over half.
Nice. Oh, that's great. I'm also curious for like any tricks that might be, and maybe we don't call it tricks, but just like when we're looking to reduce monthly overhead, I think there's this idea of like where is better to cut and where not to cut. Like whatever you do, definitely don't skimp on whatever. Well, obviously we talked about things like in the accounting side of things where you can where you can hopefully negotiate cleaning wise. Like, is that something that you guys would, oh, I'm gonna do the cleaning myself, or have my coaches do it, versus I'm gonna pay someone who's a professional. We talked about reducing cost of something like, your products of, paper products, your cleaning supplies, that kind of thing. Is that a good place to try to save versus, other areas? I would argue that, like, payroll, you really shouldn't touch that. If you're like, oh,
Wouldn't
cost
touch
is too high, I'm not going to start cutting what I pay my trainers. So what do you guys think as far as where to cut, or where just to know you're going to spend and just eat it?
Is he going to say something, or is he?
I don't know. Paul, do you want to start with that?
Oh,
I caught that.
I think Zia should always go first. So I was always waiting for her.
okay.
Oh, sorry.
I would never skimp on payroll ever, for many reasons. Like, just
People's lives.
they're depending on that money, and the members want to see them, and that's not loyal. I would never cut payroll. I would probably, if I had to cut one thing, I think I would do more of the cleaning myself. I would not cut hours and then coach the classes because I need to make up the money. I would definitely not stop the cleaning. I would just take over it myself, more of the cleaning myself. It's a community, so your coaches are more than just staff. They're part of your community, and so you don't want to do that to them. So it would definitely be the cleaning for me.
Definitely. What about you, Paul?
Where could you cut out? Well, I think the answer is also different depending on where you are. I think in the beginning, you got to do everything, and you got to work 1,000 hours a week, and you're everything. You're the manager, you're the advertising guy, marketing, PR, coach. I don't think I slept at all when can you hear me? I don't think I slept at all the first year I actually opened my facility, when I got out of the park. I don't remember that entire year. I was an absolute zombie. And I think that that's what you have to do when you're a new business owner. You got to coach as much as possible. You got to drum up business. You got to figure out how to fix the fridge. You got to figure out how to fix the plumbing, the bathroom. You're climbing, you're painting, you're building the rig. You're learning a hell of a lot in that first period, and you're everything. But I think the mistake that most people make is they go from working 1,000 hours that first month or even that first year, and they make money, and they go, hell yeah, I'm crushing it. I'm making all this money. And then the next month they go, instead of working 1,000 hours a week, I'm just going to work 100. And then the quality goes down. And when the quality goes down, the experience goes down, and your product essentially is less valuable to the members. And then people, you kind of go, well, I'm working less hours. I didn't make as much as before, but at least I'm not working as much. And I think that that's the point, a critical point, where you're super eager to hustle and do all the work, coach as much as possible, clean everything, and make all the money. But the next move is not to take it and put it in your pocket, but to go, okay, now I'm going to hire a cleaning service. Now I'm going to hire coaches. Now I'm going to hire more this, more that, buy products to sell and reinvest into that business. So that way, when you go to throttle back on the gas and you go to work from 1,000 hours a week to 100 hours a week to hopefully one day 10 hours a week, somebody else is now doing that to keep the ship moving, and you're not stopping those things out of laziness, or the kids have soccer, kids have this, I can't put the attention in the gym, because then your profit margin is going to diminish, and then you're just not going to care. And now you're that guy who's paycheck to paycheck, barely keeping the lights on, and you're so burnt out that you have no desire to do anything anymore. And you should have, at that critical moment when you were crushing it, hired people. So yeah, in an emergency, and you have to throttle back, then you got to get back into that stage. You got to get your hands dirty. You have to now start coaching some classes. You have to start being that guy that's wearing different hats at any given time to hustle and grind. So yeah, and of course, like when it comes to the cleaning, that's an easy one, because what else are you doing while your gym's closed? You know, the very least you can do, and if you're not happy to mop the floors or clean the toilets of your own business, you have no business operating anything like that. You have like none whatsoever. You need to sell that thing, give it to someone else, anything that you can, because there's no greater feeling. Like, we've all scrubbed toilets. We've all hustled and put our hand into a toilet. Some of us have been doing it for so long that it's like not just clean that toilet. It's like, hey, bro, go check on that one bathroom because somebody just, you're like, to do that, except it's yours. So if you don't have any kind of pride in cleaning your own toilet and taking a mop to your own floor and getting to the point where you buy a floor scrubber and then you're like Forrest Gumping it, just like going around your whole gym like, hell yeah, I got this floor scrubber and I'm mowing my giant lawn because I'm crushing it. Like, if that doesn't sound appealing to you, then you have no business owning a gym, because that is the first thing you should jump on to save a few bucks, and you should have pride in doing it. And when they close for the morning classes and you can clean the whole place, do it. But when you have the money and you are producing, get someone else to do that immediately.
Definitely.
Because that's what's going to keep your product. That's what's going to keep your product high quality.
For sure. What about when to expand? And I'll kind of preface that with the first thought I always think of when I hear that is physical space. I'm going to move out of my smaller spot into a bigger spot. I'm going to lease the spot next door and knock down a wall. I'm going to, whatever, we're going to do a remodel and get more out of it. Also, though, even if it's not the physical side of it, maybe you'd rather speak to things like isn't it a right time to add more classes? As you add more classes, you're offering more things. You might not have raised your rates, but now you're adding in more chances to spread your members across the day, and you have to pay coaches to handle those. So when is it time to expand your class or add more classes, and also specialty programs? When is it time to add, a different kind of class or a barbell club or something like that? That would be, some of those things might be add-ons. Some of them might be just already a part of the membership. But how do you decide that's the right time versus no, I need to keep it, because the members are going to tell you it's time for a 5 a.m. class. The members are going to tell you we want a barbell club. And then you're going to pay a barbell coach to write a program. You're going to have, 12 weeks is up and then nobody shows. And you're like, ah. So what are your takes on that, Zia, in any of those avenues? It could be the physical or the kind of the schedule.
It's hand in hand, right? It starts with the classes. It starts with adding more classes, adding more programs. You get the most out of your facility before you want to add more space. But yeah, knowing exactly, because you have your budget, knowing exactly how much it costs to operate each class, knowing, okay, each class has to have, when you first start out, it's probably more like 7 people to break even. And then as you get bigger, that number gets smaller and you're like, adding classes, around those more popular classes and filling up your day. And then, we have a master's class, we have a kids class, we have open gym, which I know people either love or hate, but you know what? I have 45 people that do open gym. So it's like a crazy revenue stream for me. But I have the space for it. I have a whole nother room. So, and then I would honestly say, like, if it's getting to the point where you're having to cap classes because they're too big, add a class next to it, add more classes. And then when you can't add any more classes or change your programming so that it's like a little bit, like we have days, our Mondays are so crazy. There's always at least 20 people in classes. I'm like, okay, we don't do box jumps. We never bring out boxes on Mondays. Do the members necessarily know that? Probably not. But I don't program boxes on Mondays because there's just always too many people there, and just programming things so that, equipment can be shared, which was really hard after COVID. Nobody wanted to share, and getting people back into that. And then when that's just not possible anymore, after like 5 years, we expanded to the place next door. And again, now we're at the point where even with the place next door, we're getting to the point where we cannot fit people in, and we've already got 10 classes a day. So now I'm thinking about getting another facility. But you don't want to think about getting another facility until you're like, I have to start turning people away, because you want to be bursting at the seams. And then Forrest in LA, he does a phenomenal job at this.
Yeah.
He has a gym that's half the size of mine with twice the amount of members. And nobody cares, and he executes it beautifully. And he is a big advocate of never go bigger. CJ also told me that. So it's like when you don't think you can fit any more people, stop and you're like, we got to figure it out. Cause like that affects your overhead the most. But getting the absolute most out of each hour of the day before you even think about expanding. Like, no, you don't want to be running classes with 2 and 3 people in a class, but just finding something to do. There is a class going on almost every hour of my day. I have a 2-hour slot in the morning from 10 to noon. And then I have from 1 to 2 in the afternoon that's open. There is a class going on every other hour of the day from 5 a.m. until 8 o'clock at night. And so that's how you got to do it, to just kind of, because you're paying rent no matter what. So you got to just get more in that little tiny space.
Fill it up.
And then the gym, I mean, it's great. There's a lot of stipulations to it. I'm not just like, have at it. But we're at 24/7 at 8 o'clock at night. We've got, 7, 8 people coming in the gym. We're a military town. They come in, they do their thing, they leave. It's great.
Awesome.
I think the answer varies, with opportunity. Some locations are hard to find new. I don't think it's as easy, at least maybe not lately in the last couple of years. I don't think it's as easy to just go, all right, we're going to go bigger.
Yeah.
If you have that opportunity, fantastic. But I think that number one, it's being as creative as possible with the space you have. I think that if you learn a little bit about real estate, you realize that there's only a finite amount of beach property, which is why that beach property is extremely expensive. And I'm kind of in the middle, and that's why I say it's case by case, because I do love the idea of like the LA. I think it's CrossFit LA, where we have 1,200 square feet and 400 members, and we're gonna process you in and out very strategically and intelligently. And that piece of real estate, if 2 people want to occupy the same space and you only have room for 1, then that becomes auction to the highest bidder, and that's where you can start charging $200, $300, $400 a month for your membership, because it's supply and demand. There's not a lot of supply, there's a high demand, therefore who's willing to pay top dollar? That's the easiest fix, is I'm just going to charge more, and whoever really wants to be here is going to be here, especially if you're restricted by no inventory of commercial property in your area. But yeah, if you have the opportunity and you want to expand, and you can expand, you have the help, you have the members to justify it, then go for it. But there's more risk. There's more risk. Sometimes there's very little reward. I personally, I had several periods of not regret, but just reflection on, man, I was making, X amount of dollars in my old gym running a very simple program. It was just CrossFit. It was, I like, overhead was low. The rent was low. The schedule was easy. And I look back at those days and I'm like, oh my God, those were the days. It was so nice. But now I'm in a big space and I don't regret it. But the workload is so much more, and it's scary. So expanding needs to really come down to the individual gym owner who's going to say, can I take this on? Because you have to, in my opinion, as a business owner, be at a drop of a hat, at a moment's notice, be able to take over your entire facility. You don't know who's going to branch off, steal coaches, steal members, and go, oh, by the way, we're opening over here. Oh, by the way, so-and-so's going to open out of their garage and they're not going to charge us. And oh, this coach is doing this and this coach is doing that. And this program's free. And I have a gym in my house or whatever. At any COVID, for example, you don't know when the next thing that's going to possibly shut down or threaten your livelihood. So that's where it becomes scary. And you have to make that decision as a business owner. Do I want to expand? Expanding means more members, more money, more problems. Yeah, I'm getting more money. My revenue is going through the roof, but so is my overhead. Now I have more hours. Now I have more coaches. Now I have more people to manage, which, and I hate to sound so cynical, but the more people, the problem with all businesses is people. The more people you have to manage, the more your liability goes up. You got to trust that these people are maintaining your product, maintaining the high quality. They're doing what you're expecting and hoping that they do, that they're not hooking up with the members, that they're not stealing anything from you. They're not taking advantage of you. They're not taking anything under the table. There's so many things when you become a bigger facility. And I was only willing to do that with a partner, and I've since bought that partner out. So now I'm steering this giant ship by myself with boot camp, with yoga, with CrossFit, with open gym, with powerlifting, with weightlifting, with strongman, with a 7-day-a-week schedule, with an access card, system for those who want to train on their own outside of class times. New coaches that come in, and I got to go through the whole process with them to go, you can't hook up with anybody, right? This isn't your personal Tinder. And it's scary. It's extremely scary. So there's arguments definitely for both sides. Stay small and only provide what is going to create revenue or increase your quality of product. Yeah. So when is it time to add a noon class? For me, because I don't have a noon class, it's time to add a noon class when it's going to bring me 5 to 10 more people. Yeah. But the issue that I have is if we've had the same schedule for the last 6 years, and then you say, hey, I want a noon class. It's like, okay, I appreciate that you want a noon class. Why don't you bring me 5 people who are not members who want a noon class? Because all you're essentially asking me is to increase my payroll. It's not as easy as just adding a noon. I need somebody
who moving members from the 11 a.m. to the noon. So you're like, I have to pay an 11 a.m. trainer and a noon trainer. And you're all just splitting. Like, where's the go? Like, how is that good for me? Versus there's Texas that can only come at noon, or we have to leave and we're just going to walk the track at the high school because that's the only time we can. Oh, okay, that's different.
My number is 7.
Yeah. Okay,
it takes 7 new people to make a class worth it. That's kind of like my number.
And as you said, new people, not people.
That's the math everybody has to do.
Already exist. Yeah. That's a good point.
That's the math everybody has to do, whether it's barbell camp, whether it's any additional program or any additional hour, every gym has to do their math to go, number one, can I do this if no coach shows up?
Right.
I literally live across the street from my gym on purpose because I need to be able to be there in case somebody screws up at any time of the day to go, okay, I'll be there.
And have a little can on a string and be like, what do you guys need?
He's not kidding. I thought about that when I bought my house. I was like, I can't be more than 5 minutes away from the gym.
It's like it's like, it's
I just can't. I have to be right by the gym.
Married to the gym. Well, last
and these aren't
curious about. Oh, go ahead.
These aren't requirements, but what I love is that you have 2 people who have successful gyms who are agreeing on everything that they're saying, which means that if you're listening to this and you're going, oh, sounds like a lot of work, like that's fine, and I mean, we're all coaches, right? So I tell them the same thing when they don't want to hook grip. Like, do I have to hook grip? You don't have to. You just won't be a good weightlifter. So these things are not required to open a gym.
It's all optional, right?
You just won't be a good gym owner.
Yeah.
And people always, I think, try to expand too fast. That's the number one. I do a lot of talking to affiliate owners and helping them with their finances. And the consensus is too big, too fast, whether that be too many classes or a bigger facility or too big of an equipment purchase. Everybody wants to go big right away and too fast. And it's just, think of the worst case scenario situation, which we're not being Debbie Downers. I think he said it well. It's not that we want to think about the negative, but what if the country gets shut down because of a pandemic? Can you cover that? Like, I have 6 months of revenue, 6 months of all my bills in my savings account at all times. Bare minimum, that's what you should have, is 6 months. Can you support your gym for 6 months with 0 revenue? And that's business 101, but in CrossFit world, nobody has that.
No, I was saying that would be jaw to the floor to a lot of people listening who aren't in this category, that are newer or just are struggling. They'd be like, 6 months. I don't have 1 month.
When you're starting your business, that's obviously not the case. but your goal is get what you need, pay your bills, and you save stuff until you have that. Because then when something happens, you're like, okay, I have 6 months to figure it out. And that's businesses all over. That's across the board. That's not just CrossFit. That's just business. And it takes years to get to that point. Obviously, a new affiliate owner isn't going to open their business with that. And that number changes as you get bigger. So going big, it doesn't matter. If you have a good program and a good community, how much square foot each person gets to occupy during their WOD doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't. That's the biggest thing, is just stay small as long as you can.
I'm also curious on your guys' take. Last thing would be on spending money on building out some retail space. You know, you have a pro shop and you want to dedicate some of your square footage. Maybe you have a lobby. Maybe you're just going to carve out a little corner of the warehouse because this could be a good spot for you to make some money. But in order to do that, it's going to cost money, whether that means building out the physical space, having someone in charge of taking care of that. If you're going to be selling anything that you're making, right? Like some gyms make a ton of products. I mean, I think Eastvale, Paul, you're one of them. I know Oahu out, Bryant out in CrossFit Oahu, like they have a crazy amount of retail pro shop stuff because they get a lot of visitors. And who doesn't want a memento that says, you know, I did CrossFit in Hawaii. And so they make a ton of money on that. And so it can be appealing if you've ever dropped into a gym and been like, yeah, I got a sticker, I got a shirt, I got a whatever. I'm going to do that at my gym. Okay. So what pitfalls could happen there where you have a box of shirts nobody bought that you spent thousands of dollars on or anything like that? So I don't know, Z, if you want to tackle that first, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with.
I have a big retail area, and I always say that people are buying stuff, whether they buy it from you or they buy it from somewhere else, but they're going to want to buy it from you to support you. So you need to have it for them. I have a whole lobby area, which you don't necessarily need a lobby, but I unfortunately have this lobby that can't be used as gym space. So I fill it with retail stuff, and I have shirts, I have hoodies, I have Yeti water bottles with my name on it, hats, I have SFH, I sell a ton of stuff from Thorn. I have Bubs. I have all kinds. I sell tape. People are like, oh, I don't have any more tape. I sell tape, and I sell it for $6 a roll. Yeah, it's expensive. You know what? When you run out, guess what? And then I have
there's a bunch of pull-ups, you're buying it.
I have it. I have it all. And over the years, I've gotten more. I didn't start with this huge thing, but yeah, I bring in a ton of money every month. From last month, I brought in $11,000 in retail sales. So yeah, it makes a big difference. I am also, though, full disclosure, I am in a very big tourist town, right? So I am a destination. People come in and they will buy a t-shirt when they drop in because they want it to say Encinitas, California. I had 39 drop-ins last week. So I am in a tourist area. So I sell a ton of shirts. I don't ever have to worry about not selling shirts. If I buy $1,000 order, if my members don't like them, people will buy them. Like, but it's a thing, and it's up to, and I started building, like, making sure that my members knew why it was so important for protein, or why it's important they take creatine, or why we do, take Bubs. Bubs is a big company for me. I sell a ton of it. I can't keep it in stock. Glenn was a member of my gym, and that whole company donates to the Glenn Doherty Foundation. So we make it important to know why we take collagen and MCT and all that. And I take the extra time to make sure people know why they should be taking it. But I sell a ton of it, and it's money. You can start by pre-sales if you're a smaller gym and you don't have the money to stock it. Thorn offers you sell it on their website. You don't ever have to buy it. SFH allows you to finance for free, so you can get your order and they give you a certain amount of, I can't remember what it was, I haven't done it in years, but a lot of these companies will let you, sell it before you buy, but start small and really be the one that educates people as to why they take that stuff. But people want to buy stuff from you, and then it's extra revenue, especially if you have a space that can't really be used as a gym space and it's just sitting there. It's like, well, I have to make money off of this area. So
Monetize
put a
it.
bunch of stuff in. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm a big advocate of that. It's money, it's free money on the table for you because they're buying it. You got to figure out what your members want and you got to sell it. And then just kind of like tell them what they want to. Some of them don't even know.
Yep, I agree 100%. I think to my earlier comment about real estate, I think that you pay for your gym, every square inch of it, you pay for it every single day for the month. And if that square foot is not making you any money, then you need to figure it out. Figure out how to make it, how to monetize it, and how to make it work for you. And a retail space, number one, is extremely easy, and number two, it's a no-brainer. All it takes, I think the secret to life, and even especially a successful business, is just opening your eyes and your ears. You look at what everybody's doing, you listen to what they're talking about, what they're saying, and then you just go after it, you gauge after it. And I've seen so many people walking around with Rogue shirts or Fleo shirts, and I'm like, that's a boring shirt. It just says Fleo. And when you're buying your shorts and they go, you want an extra Fleo crop top shirt for $5, it's like, oh, that's an easy no-brainer. And what Fleo sees it as is, no, that's extra advertising, because if no one's looking at your hip or wherever it says Fleo, they're going to look at your chest where it says Fleo. And it's an easy $5 sell. So now you're headed to Fleo when they're just mostly a shorts company, for example. And I see that and I'm just like, man, if you're going to go to Rogue to buy that t-shirt, or you're going to go to CrossFit to buy that t-shirt, or Noble to buy that t-shirt, or anywhere to buy that shirt, even the one that says, I don't sweat, I sparkle. I see that stuff all the time. And I'm like, what the hell? If you're going to buy stupid shit like that, I'm going to be the one to sell it to you.
Yeah.
So pay attention to what they're saying and what they're wearing. When it comes to building it out, it's a very, very small investment. You can go on some of these inexpensive sites for a couple $100, get some either slat walls or some grid walls, and you can have your stuff mounted in an afternoon. And it was probably, I would say, under a $500 investment. And I got laughed at by my business partner when I actually put mannequins in my gym, because I spent $300 on mannequins, and she was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Just shut up and trust me." And everything that we put on the mannequins, we sold $500 the day that we pulled the mannequins out. And I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. And now all we have to do, because I mean, I'm sure you ladies understand this. I'm a guy and I've learned so much about female apparel, but guys always buy t-shirts. They're so easy. But the women, it's like, do you have long sleeve? Do you have crop? Do you have no sleeves? Do you have racer back? Do you have this? Do you have that? And it's like, Jesus, I have to have 300 pieces of garment just to make sure I please everybody. Got it. But when the one thing I
every
learned
color.
is for women,
Yep.
in every color, for women, what I've learned is you guys don't like to see stuff hanging. You want to see it on somebody.
Have to see
So
that.
number one, we require every one of our staff to be wearing our apparel. That's number one, which, even though that sounds like an easy thing, how many gyms do you walk into and you have to look for the guy not doing anything to know he's the coach? That's the only way. We have name tags and we have branded apparel. So that's number one, because now they're seeing it. When we put on mannequins, they're seeing it on a body.
Yeah.
And they're saying, wow, I like that. I want that. The supplements, find something that you take, because if you take it, then they're going to do whatever you say. Just like Zia says, if they don't know, sometimes you just tell them and then they'll do it. Recovery supplements, recovery fit aid, the apparel, no brainer. Put your logo on it at first, but once you could find something cute and clever, then change it up. Don't just keep changing the logo in different colors. Don't buy a bunch of extra large stuff. Do pre-orders to see where the demand is on different sizing and what people like. Don't just buy it. Send them the mocks. Say, what do you guys think? Let them buy it ahead of time, even if it means you have to give them a slight discount. That way you can keep your thumb on the pulse of what your members want and what they're buying. We sell water. We don't do like the Disneyland thing where we charge you $25 for a bottle of water. We actually have, it's $3 for water, and it's only $3 because it's $3 for fit aid. So it makes it easy for every drink to be $3. And then if you get a fit aid punch card, it works for water as well. But we also have a water fountain, so no one could look at us like we're just monetizing the shit out of everything. We're not like a NASCAR track. You can bring your own water. We also do lockers. We charge monthly for the lockers. We have on-ramp. We have, you can have massage therapy if you have this space. You can have a physical therapist. We had a lash girl that rented our space and did eyelashes all day long. We now have an esthetician who does facials. Drop-ins are an extra revenue for front desk, but also we offer a drop-in plus, which is $40, and that comes with a shirt. And what I tell everybody, it's an easy sell. You go, look, you can pay $20 and get a workout and go home with nothing, or you can pay $40 and go home at least with something that you can wear for the rest of your life. And then they go, oh yeah, easy. And everybody buys a shirt. You upsell them on a shirt and they go home with something rather than just a broken sweat. Privates we charge for kids club $5 a person. And then monitor your margins on everything so you can see what things are worth for you. Always repurchase it because the margins are important. Just because your front desk brought in 10,000 doesn't mean you made 10,000. You got to go back and buy everything that they bought so that it's in stock. We do nutrition challenges, and then there are certain companies I highly would be against. What's that stupid one that, babe? What's it? Herbalife. Don't do Herbalife, but.
Oh.
X Endurance has a program where you can get 5% on their customers as long as they are referred to by you. And what I love about this is, for us, we're a 500 member gym. So we see new faces. We see about 25 new members a month. And what I love about this is if you can get everybody on a high quality product like X Endurance, and then they use your link to then get the free shipping and have it auto shipped to their house, you can retain them as customers even after they're no longer at your gym. Once they move to the other side of the country, if you get them hooked on good products, they can go anywhere, continue purchasing, and you're still going to get that check every month. So I try to write it all down, go as fast as possible, but those are my thoughts on a retail space. It's not just about selling fit aids and getting a stupid free fit aid fridge. It's about creating your own community. For us, we have Red Shirt Fridays. So we not only do we took a page out of the government's book. If we're going to make you do something, we're also going to be the ones selling it. So every Friday, everybody wears red, and we sell the red shirts. Every Wednesday, the girls love to wear pink, so we sell the Barbie shirts to them. It's like a theme every single day, and we have so many of these type of shirts, like this one that says "Thrusters Suck," that, no kidding, we program thrusters, and everyone's wearing their Thrusters Suck shirt. We program deadlifts, everyone's wearing their deadlift shirt. We program box jumps, they're wearing the box jump shirt. You have to create that community through leadership and through clever programming so that everyone is on board. And we all know that one guy who walks to the gym and he's wearing the turkey trot 5K from 8 years ago that doesn't even fit right, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. But all of a sudden he looks around and he's like, okay, everybody looks really sharp. I always thought working out was just putting on your basketball shorts and a shitty old shirt. Apparently I have to go and buy all this stuff. And you're also the one selling them, the wrist wraps, the knee wraps, the belt, the thumb tape. Hopefully not the shoes, because that's a whole different pain in the ass. But if you can create a retail center that provides everything that they need, yes, they will listen to you. Yes, they will buy it from you. Even if some of the margins aren't as good as other things, it's a convenience factor that your members are going to appreciate, because everybody wants things now. And even if you're only making $5, you're going to sell it right there.
Going to you.
They see you as the source, right? Absolutely.
100%.
I don't think this is, I think most, I know you guys have both, I'm sure, checked it out. I'm not sure if everyone, when I talk to affiliate owners, it's not always common knowledge, but there's a place to start if you're unsure. Could be the partner network in when you log in. There's items there that you can get at a discount. And I think, just like you guys, we sort of started the call with, start with that discount, build a relationship with those vendors. And then you, as a user, by buying their product to sell to your members, you can likely continue that or even negotiate a better rate over time. You know, you can get things like belt and tape and stuff from Tupood. You can get, Fully Amped was a more recent ad. They are, a t-shirt supply company. If you wanted to go that route, they can either send you the product or they can house a store for you online if you don't have as much physical space for it. But shop it around, right? Look and see maybe there's a local company that you can, you guys mentioned Fit Aid, right? Thorn, those are also in there, but start there because you automatically have some built-in discounts just by being an affiliate owner. And then from there, see what sells, right? Go ahead, what?
Yeah. ask those companies to come and do sample days for you.
Yeah.
I almost require it. Like I want to sell, it's great. I want to sell SFH at my gym, but I need you to sell it. Like I'm going to buy it from you, and I have my SoCal rep comes once a month and samples them after class and talks about them, and once a month he comes in. Bubs, same thing. I really want to sell your product, but I need you in here sampling it. Like that's not my job. And they'll come in.
You could even do that with
Ascent
clothing. Like you can have high-end clothing companies that will come in and do
so
like
I have Viore.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Viore was started in Encinitas, and so
yeah.
Viore came to Immerse. I have apparel, high-end apparel that's printed on Viore. And they come in and they give out like free gift cards for things, and they're always around. And so I have my regular shirts, but then I also have Viore shorts and pants. Now they're way more expensive, but Viore does have wholesale abilities. And so, you
A
know,
lot of those
but they're
companies will get in with the boutique, you know, Pilates, yoga, spin. They might not even realize that there's a market for it at your CrossFit affiliate. So go in those places, talk to them, have them come out.
Yeah, make them do the sampling for you. You shouldn't be, as the gym owner, out there like, try this Fit Aid. No, they'll come out. Fit Aid came. I mean, they'll all come.
Yeah,
There's
let those companies do the selling for you. Well, I can't thank you both enough. I feel like we've talked enough for 2 calls worth of information, but it's been super helpful. I hope others get benefit out of this, and I would love to have you guys both back on another call in the future. So thank you both so much. If you ever think of anything else,
Can I give 2 final tips?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention this. We kind of ran over it earlier. We were talking about the credit card fees.
Yeah.
I think what's crucially important in this call is to use your credit card as much as possible and bank on all of your rewards, because there's easy money back in your pocket when you can bank on your own rewards on your own credit card, your own business credit card. That's an easy way to get some cash back. The second is we were talking about saving 6 months of revenue or 6 months of bills. And I think that if that blows you away, start with just one. The thing that you can do with 1 month of revenue that I've known for a fact a lot of gyms don't do is they'll either choose billing dates like the 1st and the 15th and push all their people on those dates so that they get fat paychecks essentially twice a month, fat days of revenue. But what you can do with 1 month is 1 month of bills should go into your bill paying account while your other month is refilling with members' dues. A combination of that, so you're essentially a month ahead at all times. So let's say your revenue, or let's say your bills total $30,000 a month. You take that $30,000 that you saved up, you put it into one of your accounts, and that is your bill paying money. The other account is going to fill up with hopefully 40 to 50,000 all month long. You transfer the 30 over. Now that is the next month's bill paying money, and then you could take your profits from the difference. And that's huge because it puts you a month in advance at all times. That in combination with a 30-day notice of cancellation, rather than worse, in my opinion, is no notice, where you can just quit the day before you're due. That's horrible. But at least with 21 days, you're buying 3 weeks, but ideally 30 days. Let me know 30 days in advance. It's not outrageous because you got to do it with magazine subscriptions or moving out of your apartment. So 30-day notice, you let me know. So that means at any given time, I know that I will survive next month at the very least because of what I have in the account and how many cancellation forms I've received. So those are the only 2 things that when it came to what we were talking about earlier, I wanted to mention. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. Zia, Paul, I'm sure we'll be chatting again. And yeah, thanks so much.